welcome to the Graveyard Shift Horror Podcast, where each week we watch a movie suggested by one of our lovely listeners, and we break it down into the good, the bad, and, when needed, any other category we decide to make up along the way. We'll talk about the plot, some production details, and whatever else we find fun or relevant. I'm your host, Sheldon, and I never work the Graveyard Shift alone. Please say hello to a guy that's usually around 300 miles to my immediate left, but today happens to be about 1 foot away from my immediate right, my co-host, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
Mike, this is a Graveyard Shift first. We're actually doing a podcast in the same room together.
Exactly. Oh, so excited.
This is a long time coming. I'm so happy to be here. I actually made a trip to Ottawa just for this. Yeah, I made the 300-mile trek for this, and totally worth it. And if that wasn't enough, just the two of us doing this podcast together in the same room, right next to each other, if that wasn't enough, it's even more epic than that, because sitting right across from us from the Pop Chatter podcast is Mr. Rich Rehder.
Hey, I would say how's it going, but I know how it's going because we've been chilling for the past, 4 hours now?
Exactly, yeah.
Pretty freaking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also for set, we actually watched a movie just literally an hour ago, finish it up, and we're going to do a podcast right away. Usually there's a bit of more for me than you, because Mike, I'm pretty sure a number of times we've done a show where you've just finished up the movie when we started recording. For me, it's
a more open schedule, I find.
Yeah, my schedule is more of watch a movie and talk about it 3 or 4 days later, sometimes a week later.
But you give it room to percolate / osmose out of your mind.
Exactly. But yeah, very exciting. This is the first time for the Graveyard Shift, and I couldn't be more excited about this. This has been a long time coming, like I said. We've been doing the show now for nearly 2 years, and this is the first. We've actually met just in real life for the first time today, so that's pretty cool. And especially since I shouldn't even bring this up, because by the time this episode actually airs, it's going to be long done. But we got a big event coming up tomorrow. We're actually going to go to the Ottawa Comicon and be perusing the area, giving away some free giveaways to some of our listeners, and maybe even bring more people into the podcast. So that's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, you may find out about that on our Facebook page. We'll have some pics up for you.
For sure. So, guys, I'm very excited about this movie. I haven't seen this movie, until tonight. I hadn't seen it since I was a little kid. It was pretty fresh on VHS the first time I watched it. And you guys just mentioned it about a week ago about this movie, and I'm like, oh my god, yes, I forgot this was a thing. We got to watch this, because I remember watching it as a kid and thought it was one of the best things ever. So, Mike, why don't you tell everybody what we got for them this week?
Today's episode is Back on the Atkins Diet, because we watched Night of the Creeps.
We sure did. And guys, before we get into any details, because that's what we love to do on this show, we'll start with Rich. What did you think about this movie?
For somebody who doesn't like horror movies, I'm not usually a horror film kind of person. I actually had quite a bit of fun, although I think you guys might have had a bit more fun watching me watch this movie. But yeah, it was actually really fun.
There were
quite schlocky.
Yeah, it was, for sure.
Wink, hint.
Yeah, more on that later, for sure. Yeah, there were certain scenes that, this movie was quite entertaining. There were certain scenes that you were actually more entertaining than the movie was. So, Mike,
half my goods were rich.
Well, since we're already talking about it, Mike, what do you think about this one?
It was a blast. I didn't know what to expect. I was told it was this weird mishmash of a whole bunch of discordant things that make no sense, and I'm like, usually, this just shows lazy writing. And there was that in this, but it was still just enjoyable, despite the fact that obviously this was a brainstorming session where all the writers said there's no bad ideas.
Are you talking about your podcast or about the movie? I'm not quite sure.
Worlds are merging.
Yeah. Yeah, this one was I didn't remember a whole lot about it, but I did remember that I thought it was really good when I was a kid, and this viewing right now was just confirmed it. This is a gem of the 1980s horror that certainly doesn't give the recognition it deserves. This should be this should be set aside with one of the classics from the 80s for sure.
This should be getting ruined right now with another remake.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that'll happen. Like,
Or a sequel.
Dawn of the Dead.
I'm going to tell you guys later on about a movie called Slither. Later on.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it stars Nathan Fillion, and it's basically the same premise as this movie, except that it
alien
happens.
slugs.
Yeah.
Are they aliens or? Like,
They are alien slugs. Yeah, they actually come down on a meteor. And same premise. But since we're talking about it,
do they talk? Do they come down on the meteor like the cowboy in Strangelove, like?
oh my god, yeah, you need an alien riding a meteor down for sure. Okay, but we're going to get into details. Of course, we're going to do like we always do, and we're going to give this a breakdown. And what does he just hand me? Is this box of Mojo for Night of Creeps? Yeah, it did not do well.
No. Which is surprising,
which is
because it did well with the critics in this room.
Yeah, for sure, and did well with some other critics as well. So we're going to give it our complete breakdown like we always do. But before we do that, I'm going to give you a little bit of info about Night of the Creeps. So it was released in 1986. It had an R rating due to some nudity, of course. There's a little bit of nudity in this one.
Barely. Police Academy had more nudity than this.
Yeah. There's some toplessness, but that's pretty much it. It had some, like in some scenes, some pretty hardcore gore, which also helped add to its R rating. It stars Tom Atkins, which is like, I'll just watch anything that he's in. Because since I first discovered Tom Atkins in Halloween 3, which is another, I think, 80s horror movie that certainly doesn't get the recognition it deserves. And it doesn't get recognition for all the wrong reasons, unfortunately. But go back and listen to our Halloween 3 episode for that. So yeah, that just Tom Atkins in this thing, he is just like such like an unrecognized 80s icon as far as I'm concerned.
Something just snapped in my head. There was this meme. I sent it to you a while ago, but I didn't recognize like the middle picture from it. It was the scene from Jurassic Park where Nedry, where he's conducting some spy business, and then he turns around and he's like, "Hey, we're all conducting corporate espionage over here." And then he turns around and it's like, "See, nobody fucking cares." So they what they had the subtitles was he turns around and goes, "Hey, Tom, this guy thinks Halloween 3 sucked because it didn't have Michael Myers in it." And then the picture they showed was his little vacation dream sequence where he's on the beach sipping a coconut. And then it goes back to him saying, "You see, Tom Atkins doesn't give a fuck."
Yeah, I've seen that one. That's the one I did see. That was fantastic. So this movie had a $5 million budget. Somehow did not make profit. It made exactly when it's $5 million budget. It made $591,000 back. Jesus Christ, I've had a lot of beer tonight. So barely made 10% of his budget back.
With an opening weekend of $220,000 in 70 theaters, averaging $3,100, and that was its widest release.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Tom Atkins must have felt like two horror movies which are pretty decent, and they were both stinkers. Hated, reviled.
You want to know what it ranked for the entire year of 1986 as far as like top grossing movies?
Oh, please do tell.
181.
Oh my God.
Yearly opening weekends in 86, it was 143rd. Yearly R-rated movies, it was 83rd. So clearly a lot of horror movies out that year. So yeah, it did, and its highest all-time rank on July 5th of 1988 was 1,057.
Oh my God! Yeah, that is a goddamn tragedy right there.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomato scores for this one, I figured that they were going to be pretty low because I find that some of the Rotten Tomato scores end up being kind of weird, but actually not bad for this. It gave it a 73% critic score, a 70% audience score, which is really good compared to a lot of
it's what
some
it deserves.
That's probably pretty accurate.
a lot better scores than some like really high grossing horror movies actually. So I'd have no problem giving this like a 75. Even I'd go as far as giving this one an 80 score.
That's almost as accurate as some of the scenes in the movie that we'll get to later.
We certainly will. In case you're wondering about the plot, if you haven't seen this one already,
Oh boy.
get ready for this one. In 1959, an alien experiment crashes to Earth and infects a fraternity member. They freeze the body, but in modern day, two geeks pledging fraternity accidentally thaw the corpse, which proceeds to infect the campus with parasites that transform their hosts into killer zombies. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in this movie. And while that sounds like very convoluted, when you're watching it actually plays out quite nicely. But we are going to talk about that. You've got the overall gist of this movie, but we are going to do like we always do. We are going to break it down into the good, the bad, and I think it's time to like this movie, like the corpse in this one being thawed and brought in back into modern times. We need to thaw out and bring a certain segment of the show back into this episode. So we're going to talk about that. Of course, the good and the bad, that can be anything we liked or didn't like about this movie. That could be something as specific as a certain scene, certain character, certain line of dialogue, or something as broad as an overall theme. If it's good, we'll talk about it. If it's bad, we'll probably talk about it even more, except that I got a feeling between three of us, there's not going to be a whole lot of bad stuff to talk about, honestly. I think we all have the same opinion, but as tradition that we've done for almost 2 years in the show now, we start off with the good, and we start off with the Mike. So, Mike, please tell me something good about Night of the Creeps.
This thing has a wonderful beginning. Nice. Well, there's like a little spot before the credits that it's great, but it doesn't belong in the good. We'll get to that. But when it gets to the title credits, it has a nice black and white intro because it's in the 50s. 50s are always black and white. But the credits are in color with like this neon vomit, like radioactive, like
the
yellow.
actors' names.
Yeah, like,
I mean, yes.
Yeah, the credits are in.
Yeah, that's what I wrote that down as well for one of my goods. Was the font for the actors' names was really, really cool. The way that it popped in color, it changed in color. I found a couple of times, but it was really like.
It's like toxic waste, radioactive slime,
yeah, it was
neon
really
stuff.
cool. I don't if anybody out there has ever heard of the band Creep Show, which is kind of a really good kind of punky band. Incidentally, that's where the female from what's her name, Blackwood from Walk Off the Earth, she originated in Creep Show. So it's basically the
Sarah
exact same
Blackwood,
font.
really?
Sarah Blackwood. There we go.
I didn't know that.
She's from Creep Show. That was her first band.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Holy crap. So okay, now we're segueing into a Walk Off the Earth story. Because I used to I work with this guy Tyler. We haven't worked together in about a couple of years, but we kept in contact and everything. Like, he's a good dude. And we both, like, in the past have played in bands before, right? He actually, like, he worked for the same company that I did, but like on the weekends.
You're a guitarist, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, you seem too smart to be the drummer.
We like, a lot of our conversations used to revolve around music, of course, and we were talking about, like, back in the days and during high school and college, playing in bands and things like that. And he said, like, I used to play in a band with my cousin, and we were playing more traditional stuff, like doing some like old rock covers and trying to come up with some original stuff, but like original stuff was more mainstream, like following whatever the trend happened to be at the time. And he said my cousin wanted to get into really weird experimental stuff, and bringing in like instruments that don't usually show up in like rock ensembles and things like that, and coming up with like weird like strange concepts for songs and things. And he said, like, we didn't argue about it because, like, we were close, but he kind of said, like, yeah, he said, like, I kind of want to do my own thing, so he left the band and started up his own band. And I said, oh, yeah, so how'd that turn out? And he's like, well, pretty good for him, since he's the front man for Walk Off the Earth. He's Johnny from Walk Off the Earth. This was Sarah Blackwood's husband.
Wow.
And he said, this was like about 3 years ago, and he's like, yeah, he said like besides like their concerts and their album sales, he said their YouTube channel alone generates millions of dollars for them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just
and he
that
said,
one video alone.
If he said like just back when we were like kids, like or teenagers, if I said like, hey, that's a good idea, I'm gonna go like come with you, let's go start a band, and
So Tyler was in the band?
No, he played in a band with Johnny before that.
Johnny left the band.
Because he wanted to do his own thing, and Tyler's kind of like said, nah, I don't think that's gonna work.
That's too risky.
Exactly.
We're the ones that are gonna go big here.
And so he goes like, so how are you and Johnny? Are you guys tight? And he's like, yeah, pretty tight. He was in my wedding party when I got married last year.
Wow.
And then he goes, do you want to go see him? I was like, do you want to go see Walk Off the Earth? He's like, sure, I'd love to. He said, hold on. And while we're talking, it's like texting with somebody. And he goes, Annetta is like, my wife. He goes, does she want to go too? And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure she would. He's like, hold on, texting. And so we talk. We're like sipping on our beer. Checks his text a little while later. He's like, all right. He said, they're playing in Toronto at the Danforth, like in 2 weeks. Just go up to the front of the line, give security your name. They'll let you in. And that's what we did. They brought us in. We were like in front. Security's like, you guys need drinks or anything like that? And it's like, beer would be nice. Like, all right, hold on. And he goes away and comes back with some beer for us.
Wow.
And we
That's
just
crazy.
Walked in, checked out the concert in the front row.
That's
like
amazing. One of their band members just died a little while ago.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Well?
Mike.
Yeah, they had a tragedy in the band, wasn't it?
Yeah, he died in his sleep. Wait, is it Mike or oh my god, I can't remember. Sorry,
It was a sad story though. I remember.
Basically, no, he's known as Beard Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died in his sleep just over. I think it was just over the holidays, wasn't it?
It wasn't too long.
It wasn't
ago.
long ago.
Within the past year or so.
Well, it was within the past 3-4 months.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's nuts though. But yes, I've seen Sarah Blackwood at least once or twice in her previous band, Creepshow, which is kind of a like 50s-esque punk rock band.
Oh my god! See, that's so.
Like they're like New York style 50s punk, like really.
I had no idea about that, but
they're very much horror based too.
Yeah,
so
the way you described it, like seemed like it suits her perfectly, though.
Oh, it did. It was really it was really good. Anyway,
I'm gonna
back to the movie, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So that was a big time segue.
Yeah.
So
we were talking about the good, I believe.
Yeah. So Mike, you mentioned about the credits, and of course you did. Rich, okay, elaborate on that. Tell me something good you liked about it.
Well, I mean, other than that, which Mike totally stole my thunder on that one, I would definitely have to say one of the good things that I found was, or at least one of the very hilarious lines was, "Oh, Brad, wasn't it Brad? I think it was Brad. Come back, I'll let you fondle my breasts." Or no, it was back in the previous.
In the 50s.
It's 50s, so it's Johnny.
But she was just
everyone
like, "Come back, I'll let you fondle my breasts."
Everyone is Johnny in the 50s. So.
I don't know why suddenly she's like a Southern belle.
Yeah.
I'll let you fondle my breasts.
Yeah, you thought
me some collard greens.
You thought she said fold my breast.
Yes, I did.
It's a completely different thing. That's a whole different type of kink.
You got like Sam Green coming out with that Motown song "Sexual Origami."
But yeah, so it was the classic horror movie trope where something weird just happened in the woods. I better go walk off by myself and investigate this.
Well, he
and the radio
all the way there.
Yeah,
right, because it was the meteor.
Yeah, it begins with him like in the 50s, black and white. He pulls up in the radio, and they're pulling out an all points bulletin, which like when there's like a massive emergency on all stations, that is the best time to turn your radio off.
Of course, yeah.
Because like news is for squares.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, that's like I said. That's a classic horror movie trope where I'd like to think that like okay, nobody would actually do that. You see like something weird, some weird shit happening in the woods, and you got to go off by yourself, like drive there and then walk into the woods to investigate.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, I'd probably do the exact same thing if that happened.
I don't think, but I'd bring her.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I wouldn't tell my girl to stay there alone.
No.
I'd bring her into the woods so she gets more scared. She has to snuggle up closer to me. And then bada bing, bada boom, you're in, Johnny!
Yeah. I can't imagine even telling, like, oh, something scary happening in the woods. I'm going to go investigate and tell my wife to stay in the car. She'd be like, yeah, you go fuck yourself.
Especially a convertible car with the top down and the windows down.
Like, well, first of all, that wouldn't happen anyway because she would be like, yeah, okay, you go investigate the woods. I'm driving the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Good luck dying. Or she would just be like, Or I
You're
would
not
be,
even pulling over on the side of like, you are not getting any of this if you stop this car right now.
no,
Right?
it wouldn't
Like,
happen.
Yeah,
It would
exactly.
not happen.
And of course, any guy in his right mind would be like, all right, I guess we're going to keep driving.
Yeah,
I guess it's a
whatever's in
mystery.
there is not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't matter.
Well, what
I'm getting me some tonight.
the first thing I got to say about that I liked about this one was that starts off with a totally sci-fi, like it's a total sci-fi
my
movie where
gosh,
we've
yeah.
got naked
Like
baby
Mac and Me or
aliens
I thought it was
shooting
beginning
each
to
other.
Mac and Me or some shit.
You're just jumping into the WTFs already.
Yeah, but
But
okay,
it was a good start because you're like, yeah, cool
it's
sci-fi horror.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll talk about that later on as well. But the reason I want to mention that is because this must be like one of the first examples of like trolling an audience, because the aliens are speaking their alien language, whatever the hell this is, like just some made up gobbledygook language. But they put subtitles on the screen, but they put the subtitles in the alien language. It's basically
Or
just a bunch of shit.
maybe it was in a different alien language.
Maybe.
As well. So
Maybe.
maybe they were translating it for the aliens they thought this movie was going out to.
Yeah.
They didn't think it was coming to Earth, but it did.
I'm giving an audible no.
So I just thought that was funny. It's like, yeah, okay, well, they're speaking an alien language, so we'll put subtitles on the screen, but we don't know what the fuck they're saying, so we'll put
I was really confused by it for a second. I thought I had gotten a copy of like, one of those Chinese or Russian copies where you see
Yeah.
like all the Chinese Mandarin or
Yeah.
I don't know what the Russian language is called other
Klingon.
than Russian. So Russian, yeah, Klingon also works. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought I downloaded the wrong file for a second. Meanwhile, you were just laughing at me.
So yeah, I had to mention that. It's like, it was kind of dumb, but also I loved it, and this is probably something that's going to show up a lot. This is going to be like a theme for this discussion of this movie. That was kind of dumb, but I loved it.
You know what? Before, just in case we don't come back to those aliens before the end there, I have to say, to me, they totally looked like Mad Balls with a body. Like the 80s
Yeah.
Mad Balls with a body, like a tiny little body, like, I don't know, maybe a Mad Ball fucked an Oompa Loompa or something. I don't know how it worked. Or I guess it would probably be vice versa. And
That's more
that
like a
came
mad
out.
ball fucked a beanbag chair.
Maybe. A potato beanbag chair.
A killer tomato fucked a beanbag chair.
Yes, they also
did
had
look like-
faces
yeah.
like the animated Killer Tomatoes. Yes, totally. Yeah.
All right. So, Mike, I think we've made a full circle back to you, because I know you've got more good stuff to talk
This is
about.
supposed to be easier live.
Tom Atkins, he shows up later on. It turns out he made like an appearance in the black and white flashback, but we didn't know it was him because he didn't have that mustache.
Yeah.
And he was played by a different actor, so that's also.
Well, I mean, he was supposed to be like 30 years younger, so even Tom Atkins can't pull that off.
Crispin Glover pulled it off.
Did he, though? Did he?
Gee, I don't know. I mean, Lorraine's cute, but there's the dancing, there's Bev. So, okay, that didn't fly. All right.
I thought you were having a stroke. I don't know what the hell
I
just happened.
guess that joke didn't make fly. So,
Boy.
so he shows up. He's a kid. He realizes his girl is on a date with this guy, and he's like this dorky cop. Which, I mean, like every girl is like talking down about this guy behind his back. Like, he's a cop. He's not going anywhere. Like,
He has no future.
he has a secure career in law enforcement. Like, there's a steady pension going on in a small town where there's no likelihood he's going to get shot. It's a stable job.
I think this is kind of a trope, though, that I think like movie makers, especially in the 80s, think cops don't make any money. Like,
Well,
and maybe
they
it's
don't make a lot of money, but they make decent money.
They
right?
do,
Like,
man.
Make, I think cops usually make like pretty much the average.
Yeah.
Like if you averaged out in the States, usually the average somewhere around like $50,000 or $60,000, right? That's usually about a cop's salary is about that amount. I know in Ottawa, it's in Canadian, it's usually around like 60-ish. I think.
I think.
that
Well,
for a
all
base
I
cop.
know is that, like, I mean, I do know a few.
They
and of
probably
course,
make more in Toronto. There's a lot more risk.
This is of course, like, yeah, I think there's a difference between like Canadian cop salary and American cop salary.
Yeah.
I just saying that off the top
We're
of my
gonna
head.
go off on another tangent now.
Maybe. All I know is that any police officer, anyone that works in law enforcement, like that I know personally, like are doing pretty well for themselves.
And they usually get like benefits and stuff like that too, right?
Pension, full pensions.
Yeah.
So
probably even better back in the day. Now they try to take all that stuff away to pay for, I don't know, whatever Bill Ford wants.
Yeah.
So
Bill Ford? I forget which one's which now.
So the
Ford F-150.
I'll take 2.
So the reason this makes the good list is at one point, Atkins, there's a zombie body slug thing on the loose, and when Atkins shows up to the lab, he sees like this murdered scientist on the floor, and like not only is he smoking at a crime scene, which is freaking hilarious, but at one point like people are saying like, oh, there's some weird shit going on, and he's like, what the hell is this, like a B movie?
Yeah.
And then he throws his cigarette down on the ground and stomps it out on the ground in the lab.
Yeah.
As well, right? I don't know if you were about to say that. If you were, I'm sorry.
No.
But the fact that he did that in a lab is just ridiculous. Not to mention, in anybody's house or any crime scene whatsoever, you're contaminating the crime scene and you're fucking up somebody's floor.
1980s forensics were amazing.
What an asshole, though. He's fucking up their floors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that he just like basically hung a lampshade on this entire movie. What is this, a bad B movie? Like, yes, it is.
All he had, the only thing that scene was missing for him to turn to the camera and wink.
What is this, a B movie? What is this, The Night of the Creeper? Like, it felt like one of those moments where they say the name of the movie.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it felt like to me. It had that same feel.
Yes, for sure. All right, Rich, what else you got? You gotta have more good than just...
I have a couple, yes. 80s parties look fucking awesome. Oh my god, the 80s frat party they were having, I kind of got like a little bit of a what was the name of that movie? Ski Patrol. Like a Ski Patrol feel.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that movie, but like the parties they were having in Ski Patrol, this felt like very Ski Patrol-ish.
They had a beer tree.
The betas know how to party. I want to apply for beta, even though they probably wouldn't let me pledge. They just send me off on some crazy, scheme they wanted me to do.
Yeah.
Like, steal some sort of dead body from somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't get to enjoy 80s parties. I was too young for 80s parties. I had to wait till 90s parties, and then everything was all raves, and like that just...
Hey, that sounds fun, too.
Aqua's not bad.
Yeah, there's a lot
Did you say Aqua's not bad?
a lot of sweaty girls in vinyl. That was 90s raves.
If Aqua's not your cup of tea for the party, then you can always bump in the Mortal Kombat soundtrack.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God.
So amazing.
All right. So, one thing I gotta say is, fuck yeah, like, this movie combines so many things. Not only was it, like, start off with, like, it had, like, of course, a strong sci-fi element, but then a strong zombie movie element, because basically that's what used to happen. Like, the people would get infected with the alien slugs and become basically walking dead, and would spread the affliction not by like bites or anything, but by basically heads popping open in just amazing gory goodness.
You know what? That actually, it kind of seems like they took that inspiration from real life, because there's a hornet that does that, right? There's a hornet or something that like pierces you with its stinger, but the stinger also injects you with the eggs, which then incubate inside you or inside another bug. And then they grow, they eat it from and then they come out and spring into the world. So that would seem like they watched a lot of National Geographic.
Most wasps do that, in fact, like because they're parasitoid.
Because they're dicks. That's why wasps are fucking dicks.
They are. Thankfully, we don't have a lot of those type of wasps around here.
Flowers put out different scents when they're getting eaten by bugs to attract just the one specific wasp that will kill or lay its eggs in the one specific animal that's eating it.
Really?
So wasps exist to save plants.
Next week on
Nature podcast.
Next week on the Nature Channel.
Yeah. I was gonna say Mike on Nature.
So you've seen pictures of caterpillars that with like fucking tons of eggs sticking out of them, like they got dosed good.
That's it. That's
Okay,
that
let's-
just set off Rich.
Next,
That's it.
Next.
Yeah, and then there's the tarantula
Thank you.
hawk.
Next.
So yeah, but like it paid tribute to, like, especially with like the whole like 1950s sci-fi scenes being in black and white, and then like they mentioned
That was an interesting choice too.
yeah, and then they mentioned, like, I mean, the movie, one of the characters in the movie actually mentions Night of the Living Dead, but then we get like reanimated corpses killing people, and then we just got like some hardcore 80s action. Like, this is paying tribute to like I think this is one of the reasons I love this movie, because it's paying tribute to like all my points, all the things I love. Is getting
All your
this movie is
nostalgia.
hitting all the points.
Yeah.
And the
You know?
zombies themselves, as they develop, they're kind of black and white too.
Yeah,
Except for except when they bleed.
yeah,
Like their skin is black and white now.
yeah. It's and like I'll more on that afterwards. But it's like just like that. This was such a good concept. Like they put everything together. Like I said, it hit all the points that I loved. Like the things that, especially during the time, like when I was a kid, it was just fantastic. Okay, so Mike, you got other stuff. What do you want to talk about?
The characters' names.
Oh yeah,
We barely know who these people are because they only use their first names. But then when one guy like meets them all up and he goes, "Well, if it ain't like Cronenberg, Carpenter, Hooper, and Cameron."
and Romero too. Said Romero in there.
Romero.
Yeah,
So it's like a big horror movie director dump right there.
yeah. So
Like there's a name drop and then there's like a name dump.
yeah, I literally said out loud as soon as he said those, because we heard Cronenberg
I heard
first.
Cronenberg, and
Yeah.
that's the one that set it off for me. I was like, wait a second.
'Cause it's the
Isn't
one-
that like a horror movie director?
It's the
or
one
something?
horror movie director you've.
Yeah, if anybody listened to my last appearance, which if you did, I'm very sorry I was recording with the wrong microphone. I swear I'm recording with the right microphone this time.
All four people that listen to the episode, it's a heartfelt apology. You can tell
Yeah.
the look on his face is like a little wiping away some tears.
I can
I'm like an Indian having just seen some trash thrown away.
Oh, that's what you meant when you said I recorded with the wrong mic. I thought you meant.
Oh.
You know,
No, it was, so it's funny because my Zoom recorder was actually recording the right mic, but the Audacity file that I send you guys was recording the mic from my laptop.
okay, that's why you kind of sounded like Kenny from South Park.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Good
exactly.
point. All right, so what else we got? Because I know there's got to be more good stuff to talk about.
I've got a couple more here. I got some shades of Degrassi. I definitely got some shades of Degrassi from so there's like the what's his name, Michael Allen Balls.
Michael C. Hall?
No, what did you say? his
Anthony
name?
Michael Hall?
Anthony Michael Hall. There we go. I was close. Very close. So like him and his Joey Jonah J. Jameson.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
They totally had like a Degrassi moment going on.
Oh, for sure.
And then also the couple of times that they were talking with Cindy Lou Who, like totally getting some Degrassi moments there as well.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Despite the fact that, like, Degrassi took place in the 90s, but it totally looked like the 80s because Canada didn't get the 80s until the 90s. So
we invented the Degrassi. Reinvented the
But
Degrassi.
wait, when did we invented the Degrassi? Yeah, that's
The Degrassi, that's all the Canadians.
yeah. Wait, when did Degrassi Junior High start? Was it in the 80s or the 90s?
It was 80s.
80s.
Degrassi,
It was? I thought it was
'cause-
the 90s.
No, Degrassi Junior High was
late 90s.
no, Degrassi Junior High was like 86, 87.
No, it couldn't have been that
No,
early.
yeah, totally.
No, it
Mike,
couldn't.
you need to look this up. And then Degrassi High started kind of, I think that was late 80s, like 88, 89. There was only
Oh.
1 or 2 seasons of Junior High, I believe, or like maybe 3. And then it went to Degrassi High.
I do
and
remember
that.
that.
One lasted for a while. That one lasted into the 90s.
I do remember that, but I could have
and then
sworn
they did
that
the
it was
redo. Where
Shit, the kids of Degrassi Street ran from
Yes, that was in the
1979
70s.
Yeah,
to
'cause
1986.
that was the original, but that one was
the original.
different.
But yeah,
Degrassi High was 1989 to
89.
1991.
But what about Junior High? Was Junior High later or earlier? I thought Junior High ran first.
I see Degrassi High 89 to 91. The OC, what the fuck, can you give me Degrassi Junior High?
Hey, Google.
hey,
Degrassi
Google.
Junior High.
Then there's Degrassi The Next Generation.
Wow, we've taken another segue. This is just. Who's your favorite character from Degrassi Junior High?
Oh, definitely J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh yeah,
John Jacob
him,
Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Was that one character or 7?
I could never remember his name. So yeah, here we go. Degrassi Junior High, first episode date, January 18th, 1987. Boom!
Oh, wow.
Joey J. Jonah Jameson.
Ended in
Wow.
89.
Wow.
Yes, and then they switched over
To
because
Degrassi
they
High.
Exactly. But the reason why I loved him most is he actually came back in the later shows as well.
Oh, like the Next Generation ones?
He came back in the Next Generation as one. He adopted one of the kids or something like that who was going to the Degrassi or whatever, and he was like a used car salesman or something.
Of course he
and
was.
That
Of
came into play
course.
where his kids stole his car, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was so great. I got into a Degrassi kick. Thank you, Kevin Smith. I never saw it when I was a child, but anyway, back to this movie.
Yeah, didn't
again.
Kevin Smith, like, okay, I want to stay on this tangent for, like, just another 5 seconds. Kevin Smith was actually,
Your
like,
show, man. It's your
he
show.
was a huge fan of Degrassi,
Mallrats.
right?
Oh my
that
gosh.
girl didn't even know she had Kevin Smith used hockey tape and put the words Degrassi on one of the lead actresses' jackets. She didn't even know it until she saw the movie. She was like, "What the fuck did you put on my back?"
They were such big fans that they actually came and did a few episodes
Yeah.
as well, right? And he talks about it all the time on his podcast. He loves Degrassi.
It was actually
what's her
it was
name?
actually the Zit
Alanis
Remedy that
Morissette.
inspired me. It was actually the Zit Remedy that inspired me to learn to play guitar.
The Zit.
Joey's and the other two losers band.
Oh my
The Zit
gosh!
Remedy.
No way. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like I thought these guys were like so cool when I was watching the show, and then I watched watching reruns as an adult, and said, "Oh my god, these people were the worst people ever."
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
All right. Okay, so I want to talk about something good about this movie is the fucking practical effects
you. I
in
was
this
just
movie.
looking at my notes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Oh
Fucking
my gosh.
some of the best I've seen for 80s movies, and I don't want to call this low budget because I mean $5 million in the 80s. I don't think we can consider that low budget per se.
It's a chunk of change.
Yeah, like that's that's the equivalent of somebody saying now like a horror movie had $20 million budget. It's like, I mean, it's not huge. Like obviously a studio is not throwing cash at it, but you can't call it a low budget production once you get into like the 20 million mark, right? Yeah. I think once you cross that like $10 million threshold, you can't call it a low budget flick anymore.
Like, two of my goods are the practical effects. When we see Gordon the cat,
oh yeah,
first time he's a regular cat, second time this cat has been slugged.
Yeah.
He is got worms coming out of his eyes. Worms like crawling out of one
so
eye
good.
into another.
Yeah. I think that was one of the scenes that made you scream,
fucking
actually.
great.
Oh
Right?
yeah, it freaked me right out.
Yeah.
So I just googled the inflation rate. So in 1986, the $5 million budget, if you bring that into 2017 money, anyway, with inflation, that is just about $11.2 million.
Yeah.
Which is
So-
not a low budget, but that's a modest budget.
Yeah,
for
you're
a
not.
horror
It's
movie
it's
nowadays.
you're not going to call it like a blockbuster budget, but you can't call it low budget anymore.
$10 million, $10 to $12 million is a okay budget nowadays for horror movies. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the first few Saws were probably around that, but probably
yeah,
even
yeah.
less than that.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I know the Evil Dead remake from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Had a $20 million budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that, so I mean, like it's getting up to like close to comparable to that.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I don't want to call it a low budget movie, because I think like $5
But
million.
they definitely spent at least $1 million on cocaine, for sure.
Oh, for
100%.
sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
because you can tell this wasn't a $5 million movie. Some of that money went missing somewhere.
They wrote this as a general zombie movie first, and they didn't know how to start it off. This is my theory. This is like totally like I didn't look any of this up or anything. This is just my idea right here.
Theory time.
Yeah, they wrote it just as a general zombie movie with the brain slugs, and they had to try to figure out a way like how to get these brain slugs in there. They had a coke party, and somebody came up with like the alien part, like the alien baby, naked baby aliens on the ship.
And then some of that, if these slugs are on the ground, how are they going to get into people's mouths? They can't jump that high. Well, why don't we have them go into animals that will be picked up and cuddled, and then they can jump from the animal into the mouth of the people, because they will always be having their mouth open near an animal, because they're going to be going, "Ooh, who's a cute little kitty? Yes, you are. You're a busy little cat, aren't you?"
So this kind of segues into I'll knock off two things off my good list, because like besides practical effects, it had zombie animals for one thing, which is fucking amazing. A dog and a cat.
Even a sheepdog. Some old lady's sheepdog, Mr. Muggs type thing.
Yeah.
He got dosed with slugs, and he looked fucking great.
Yeah, he looked horrific. And not as much as the cat. The cat looked fucking gnarly because the cat had no skin left on its face and had worms.
Move over, Church. We have a new zombie cat.
This one, because Church looked dirty. And in case you don't know, and if you don't know this, and I'm not sure why you're listening to a horror movie podcast, but Jesus Christ.
Okay, subtlety's gone. Rich just left the bathroom in a very auspicious manner.
You're basically doing the Ace Ventura, do not go in there.
No! I was air drying my hands because I didn't want to make noise or flush or do anything.
You were trying to wave your stank away.
I was like 5 feet away from the door. Fuck you guys.
You're doing it poorly.
I had like 8 drinks, okay? I need to pee every 10 to 15 minutes at this point.
Wait, we're talking about just in case
animals.
Just in case you guys didn't know it here in listener land, but yeah, Rich just stepped away to go to the bathroom. But we're talking about the practical effects, and that kind of segued into the zombie animals, which were
and
done
having sex
so
with
good.
them. You never know. You might like it.
Well, there's that.
Remember
that line
get
did
it?
come
Get
up.
it? Get it? Huh?
What kind of past are you alluding to?
The movie when he was like, "Oh, we're gonna go fuck animals." You never know. You might like it more than Cynthia.
They did have a bestiality reference in the movie. He's not
Yeah.
making shit up.
Yeah. So how is bestiality? It's not bad.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I've been waiting a while to say that.
Or as a callback to this show, bestiality is the bestiality.
Oh.
So, yeah, the
Fuck
animals.
me right meow.
You
Woof.
did it. You got my
I got nothing. Sorry.
you got my first snort on the show.
Doggy style. Nope, that's not it.
I was trying in my head. I was like, "There's got to be something for bark. Like, let me take all that bark or something. I don't know. I can't do it.
She
Anyway.
felt like bark. I don't know.
Oh, how was your night? Rough.
There you go.
Wow.
How
There
do
we
you
go.
how do you like it? Rough.
See, this is what happens when you drink after you watched a horror movie.
And during and before
And before.
So, the animals looked horrific. The like the prosthetic, like for first of all, some were just like animatronic animals. When you see like the close-up shots, they were just
yeah.
like a fully animatronics.
And it's fine.
But sometimes, like for the wide shots, they were actual real animals that they had prosthetics put on.
How do you get an animal to be that much of a good boy and not just shake that shit off or just be trying to paw it off?
Yeah, that's for the dog. The cat. I can imagine trying to put like prosthetics on my cat. I'd look like a fucking dead guy after that.
There is no way they did not like tranquilize that cat.
No, absolutely
They
not.
would just have to take that cat, tranquilize it, and then for the jump shots, just throw the cat at an actress.
Yeah.
And just like have the cat paw around, like, what the fuck's going on?
So we talked, and we've talked about the special effects in regards to the animals, but let's not forget the special effects just with the people themselves. The prosthetics, the makeup
bus driver?
work. We'll get to that. We'll get
we're
to that
not there.
one. That
Wrong
one's an
cat-
exception. We'll get to
wrong
that.
The bus driver.
The face on the bus goes, what the fuck?
But
Anyway.
the people when they spread the slugs, when their heads used to split open, that was fantastic. The
Oh, it looked
headshots.
so good.
They
It looked
flower.
kind of Cronenbergish.
They bloom.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, that was a great ode to Cronenberg. Totally.
Yeah.
Here, cheers, boys.
Another round.
We might as well admit to
Cheers.
everybody that we are just knocking them back here while we're recording. How's that Kraken coming?
Oh, it's cracking lacking.
Yeah, it's almost we're like half done.
Cracking.
Mike stopped drinking, but
I'm taking the classic route. I'm going with Stella.
you did try some crap.
Oh, it was good. I'm not a
and
rum
some
drinker.
Pepsi Max. How do you
Yeah.
like the Pepsi Max? Zero sugar.
That's always good because
Zero sugar, extra cancer.
yeah. I'll take my chances with the cancer. But yes, the headshots. There's a lot of headshots in this movie, and they are all worked out perfectly. After there's a big scene where a bus crashes, and all the party boys in the bus get infected.
All the jocks.
Yeah, and we see them like emerging from the bus with a lot of injuries. One guy with like face completely gone. That looked great. There's one guy missing a leg that's just crawling along the ground and somehow keeping up with all the two-legged
Kind of
zombies.
reminded me of the kid on the skateboard in the subway from Kids. I have no legs. I have no legs. I don't know why. I just.
But yeah, so whoever did the practical effects for this, kudos to them. They
For sure.
did
They
a
should have won some
fantastic
sort of
job.
raspberry or
Yeah.
blueberry award or something.
And I'm going to say, of course, this was 1986, so I guess all the effects were practical. In a sense, I guess. Okay,
Claymation was coming out.
yeah. What would you?
Harryhausen.
Is green screening something like considered practical effects, or would this be?
Well, because they green screened the practical effects in, so they were still doing practical effects.
Yeah.
It's just they weren't doing the practical effects.
Okay.
Obviously, in front of the actors.
Okay,
right?
what I'll say with this, because I do want to mention something about the effects later on in another category, I'll say the prosthetic effects, if that makes more sense. Prosthetic and animatronic effects were really, really well done.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, so so let's move on. I've talked enough about that. Mike, what else you got for the good?
We have a return character, someone that we long thought dead, the stair sliding dude from Ragman, in Europe, known here as Trick or Treat.
Okay.
1986 movie with Ozzy Osbourne.
Rich has no idea what we're talking about right now.
No,
so
Mike
why
is literally.
That's why
pointing
I'm
to me every
explaining
2
to him while
seconds.
looking at him.
I have no idea.
Mike is pointing at Rich while explaining, like he's trying to zap the knowledge into his head.
You're charged, and you're charged, and you're charged.
Any second he's going to start going doing the.
So it has Ozzy Osbourne and Gene
Simmons.
Simmons in cameo appearances as this kid. It was made for Moral Panic.
Well, was Alice Cooper busy with WrestleMania? Like,
probably. So it was a movie about a kid who gets a record which is haunted by the soul of one of his favorite heavy metal artists. And it starts. He plays it backwards. It tells him to do things like confront your bullies, lure them into traps. And one of the traps is he basically knocks over a janitor's bucket after provoking them in the cafeteria. As they chase him, he runs a corner around the hall on the second floor. They most of them get by, but one guy slides into the spilled wet floor and slides into the staircase, not down the stairs, over the stairs.
So there's a scene in the movie basically that completely breaks the laws of physics, because slipping on wet stairs, what happens? You fall down the stairs, right? You slide down the stairs.
I broke a phone that way a year and a half ago.
But in this scene in the movie, the guy is running and hits the top of the stairs, and they're wet, and he slips down. But instead of sliding down the stairs, this guy fucking launches into the air on a 45-degree angle, and he's never seen again in the rest of the movie. We don't know what the fuck happened to him.
He's never with the rest of the
hilarious.
bullies. We're imagining that there's a scene where they're burying him, and one guy's pouring a can on his coffin, going, "We're gonna get that fucking nerd for you, man."
Oh,
I swear.
I don't know who the stuntman was, who performed, if it was a stuntman or you got the actor that played the kid to do this, the whole slipping down the stairs, but I'm convinced that this guy actually died in the movie. The actor died. And he's not in anything else after this movie.
This is Trick or Treat?
Trick or Treat, yeah.
Trick or Treat?
No.
Trick or Treat.
That was
Not to be-
2017. This was 1986.
Okay, that's why I was like, did they
Yeah.
remake that?
So, Mike, okay, you fill in the rest. So imagine that movie, because that was a highlight for us in that movie. That scene made me laugh more.
I'm guessing you guys did this already on the podcast.
Yeah, it's only about 3 seconds of 2 seconds of footage where we see the cameras in the staircase. The door burst open. That guy slides over the stairs, never to be seen
launches
again.
like fucking Evil Knievel, and never seen again. And so this is why I laugh so hard at this movie, is because we get to this scene, and out of nowhere,
In the frat house, they're having a pre-game party. They're pre-drinking. And they're taking
Sounds
pictures, and one guy comes down the stairs, not sliding down the stairs or anything. He is just falling over, over the stairs.
He doesn't touch the stairs on the way down.
Oh my gosh.
And he's soaking wet. He's wet. So our theory is this is the same guy.
He
that's
he
true.
hit the stairs
Could
so
be.
hard he breached the movie dimension barrier
and
it entered a new movie, only to
The
die.
MDB.
Only to
Breached the MDB.
only to die in a bus crash. So he could never return to his home universe to tell the tale.
And if you wanted any more evidence of this, both movies take place in 1986.
1986.
So this guy like hit warp speed or whatever and launched
I
himself
think it was
into
plaid, actually.
he went to ludicrous speed.
Mike's almost spitting his alcohol out on me.
It's too
here.
precious to spit. This Kraken is good. But
Kraken is very good rum.
Yeah.
So, are we still on good here? I'm
Almost.
not
We are
even
still
sure
on
anymore.
So that was just like a personal one for me and Mike, but I think me and you both thought that at the same time. As soon as we saw this like wet dude come flying down the stairs, we're like, "Holy shit! This is where the guy from Trick or Treat landed."
Stair Dude survived.
All right, who wants to go next? Because I really have no idea whose turn it is.
Richard's turn.
Are we still on good? Because
Yes.
I got no goods left.
Okay,
except for the dead cat effect and the dead dog effect were great. I know you already mentioned the cat. The dog was also hilarious and awesome. I love dogs more, so I have to say,
Because
dog
they're
was
smart.
my favorite.
They're smarter and less assholey.
Yes, they're less like complacent roommates and more like an actual friend and pet.
When a dog presents their belly to you, they want you to rub it. When a cat presents their belly to you, it's a trap.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, you just need to
It's
play
a trap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
So
It's a crap.
okay, I'll rapid fire my goods. There's a character who's like the comic relief guy. He's like, basically the young handy-capable boy from Shazam.
Yes.
He's basically him.
I was
like,
going to say the Mike. He was basically Mike. except Mike's, handy capable actually. As well, so never mind.
More mental than physical.
So he's the guy who's like the comic relief, also like the comic relief / guru.
He's kind of an asshole
Wing /
at first,
wingman.
but you realize after that he's actually kind of really good.
Yeah,
Like,
he's an
being a
asshole.
really nice guy.
He's an asshole out of love.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Like,
Yeah.
he has a deep love for his friend.
There are times when this guy reminded me of Evil Ed
Yeah.
from Fright Night, but then his farewell when he gets slugged. He manages to like fight it long enough to leave a message for his buddy. Like you think, oh, he's going back to the dorm room and he's going to ambush his buddy. No, he's gonna his friend's gonna have to kill him. But he leaves a message on his little recorder.
But we don't see that, right? Like I don't know if I was in the bathroom or anything.
You didn't
but,
see
like,
it happen. Like you see.
I just remember him getting screaming and getting quote unquote slugged. Or
He
whatever.
gets slugged in the bathroom, but then
But we don't see him again after that, right?
no. But his friend finds the recorder in their dorm.
Yes, that I remember.
And playing it, he's like, "Listen, these things got me. They're slugs. They're damaged. They're attracted to and killed by fire." Like he basically tells him how to kill them, and then he goes, "And I'm going to the boiler room to end myself, like because I don't want to hurt you. Like I'm fighting this."
Yeah.
And it's like,
I love you, man.
yeah, he says, and like, I love you, and like, I hope you get with Cynthia. He's actually like, he's such a, it's a
I think
touch.
he was in love with him.
Nah, he's just like
Could've
friend
been.
love.
It was the '80s, so he wasn't allowed. He couldn't actually tell him if he was. You know?
Bury your buys. I don't know. So, and like it's like it's in the goods because it's a touching farewell. It's like
Yeah.
emotional.
Well,
you get to see there's like a genuine bond between them.
I want to say something for the goods. I didn't actually put this on my list, but since you actually mentioned Cynthia, she was definitely a good part of this movie. Because
Yes, an
goddamn,
intelligent female lead.
well, not only that, but she was goddamn gorgeous.
Yeah, she was cute.
She
Oh,
was.
she was so adorable.
She is another.
But she didn't give us any nip slips, so
She
I'm
did a little bit.
Yep.
Little bit.
No, there
for a
was
second.
no areola
You got
there.
like
No, we don't. We saw.
we got
you do.
side boob. There was like,
We had side nipple.
oh, there was side nipple.
no
'cause
for about like
You
point-
blinked, bro. You fucking blinked.
I guess I was taking notes.
It was like
That
0.4 seconds.
That's why
That's
you.
not enough for me.
That's why you gotta
I
work.
need at least 0.8.
You
Oh,
could-
see, I
you
can.
could-
0.3 is enough for me. It was stored in the memory banks.
You could have worked that rewind button, man.
Yeah, no, the
Okay,
buttons
but
are way too small.
all seriousness though, without seeing any boobs at all, no, she was goddamn adorable. I'm so surprised she wasn't in more stuff.
She just gave up acting in the 90s. She
Yeah.
was just done with it.
She did some other stuff, but I'm surprised she wasn't in more because like I thought like okay,
Well, she was in more than a few 80s films.
Weird
with
Science.
her. Like including, what did you say?
She was like the
Porky's?
perfume. Yeah, she was in Porky's, perfume
Porky's.
girl in Weird Science.
yeah.
Like the perfume sales girl.
Yeah.
So
but-
I'm sure that was a huge part of the
Yeah,
movie,
she was
vital
definitely
to the
enough.
plot. I'm certain.
And also, another good that I don't think we mentioned was roaming through a girl's beta pod, what do they call it?
Sorority?
Fraternity, sorority, roaming through a girls' sorority while they're, getting in and out of the showers and getting changed.
We had a nice shower pan from one stall to another.
Yep, that's very 80s. That's very
absolutely.
like Revenge of the Nerds, Police Academy 80s.
Yeah.
Derivative of Porky's. Without like a dick in the wall.
I only just saw Goonies for the first time less than friggin' a decade ago.
I'm surprised.
Catching up to do.
I'm surprised they showed that scene without anybody singing like "All in all, you're just another dick in the wall."
I thought it was all in all, you're just another dick with no balls.
It is actually.
That's a parody.
You're just another dick with no balls.
Yes, you should sing that in public as often as possible.
Like do the whole Louis Armstrong thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, my last good is the finale. It is just filled with so much fucking bizarre shit. Like Atkins, when he's
he's
trying to save this girl. He's trying to save this girl who's being attacked, and he's fighting some guys off. Like it looks like it's the end, and then she starts attacking him, and then he notices his snub-nosed revolver on the ground, and he goes, as you called it, Atkins vision, where the camera somehow gets strapped to his chest. So you see his face as he's turning all around the room, and you're seeing everything.
Have you ever seen those rigs before that they actually used to film those moments?
Yeah, they're kind of
very cumbersome looking.
My theory is that actually Tom Atkins, in his awesomeness, actually made the room rotate just by sheer will.
Like Max Payne.
Yeah.
Or Matrix.
Yeah. That's my theory. There was no rig involved. He was just so intense during that moment that the whole set shifted around him.
It wasn't just his awesomeness either. Cynthia, as great as we've been talking about her, she had an absolute moment of awesomeness because she was in this confined space with her new boyfriend, and she had a flamethrower, and the walls are being broken in, so you can't shoot a flamethrower because she'll toast her new boyfriend. So instead, she does something I don't think we've ever seen in a movie. Point blank, puts the pilot light basically up the zombie's nose and fires.
Yeah,
gives it a quick psst, and just incinerates his head. And it is fucking amazing. And then he returns the kindness when she gets pulled out the other end of the wall, the tank is strapped on her back. She can't move. She's reasonably pinned down. This isn't some shitty, I can't move, I'm in distress. She's got a genuine reason for not being able to get up. So then he returns the awesomeness with starting a lawnmower. Now, when did Dead Alive come out?
Mow you later? Or no, Blade to see you? What was it?
Sooner than Blader? I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
See you Blader or something.
Yeah, See you Blader. That was it.
See you Blader.
See you Blader. Oh, that was so... Did we talk about, though, the scene where they get the firefighter was amazing.
The flamethrower scene. The cop goes to the armory. Basically shows
the actor
Dick Miller. Dick Miller from Gremlins.
He's in so many things.
Oh, he's
from Gremlins.
He's like one of the most prominent.
Him and Stephen Tobolowsky are two huge bit people.
He died last year, I think, sometime in 2018. Yeah. But Dick Miller is one of Hollywood's prominent character actors. Yeah. He's been in so many things.
He should have had a podcast. That Stephen Tobolowsky podcast is so interesting because he's also one of the huge Hollywood bit actors. He's been doing bit acting for
he was in Spaceballs.
Years.
Yeah,
he was the Stephen Tobolowsky. He was in Spaceballs. He was the swishy
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, he was the swishy commander who captures their stunt doubles.
He's great. If anybody hasn't listened to the Tobolowsky Files, look them up if they're still available. It's a great show.
God damn it! Stop promoting other podcasts on our podcast. You only listen to this one. God damn it!
And the very last good,
an hour and a half later,
is again Tom Atkins. Fucking great. He's in the basement, there's a boiler room or something? They're attracted to something. All the slugs, there's a mountain.
They're attracted to the brains because one of the biology students kept brains in the basement.
Yes, human brains, which are large brain-shaped things inside tiny jars, but who knows how they cram that in there? It doesn't matter. They're just glomming onto these things, and Atkins is there. He's got duct tape over his mouth so that he can't get dosed. And then for some stupid reason, he takes it off so he can quip a great one-liner as one of them jumps towards his mouth, and you think, he's gonna get got, and he just grabs that fucking slug out of midair like he's clutching an arrow in a fucking medieval Lord of the Rings movie, and he looks at the slug and he goes, "Don't even think about it."
Yeah.
My microphone needs Viagra.
Yeah, we had a brief cameo by the table.
Tom Atkins is so hardcore he possessed the slugs.
Possessed by Mike.
But yeah, that was, oh my god, I laughed so fucking hard at the scene because they bust into the basement of the house, and Tom Atkins is just there with a fucking like strip of duct tape over his mouth, like.
But then he immediately takes like that part. I was like, all right, like,
it makes
he took
sense.
it off, and then he caught somebody anyway.
Yeah,
caught one of the slugs that didn't. I don't even think so, you little fucker. Like throws it away, like whatever. Like don't you think about it. But like, if you were that good, why did you even have duct tape over your mouth in the first place?
Yeah,
You can only do it like once or
precaution.
twice.
I guess.
But yeah, so that was all good. The finale of this movie was so fantastic. You got the lead character, who I can't even think of his name, with the 12 gauge pump action shotgun. Cynthia with the flamethrower, and Tom acting with the snub nose,
and they're working in concert with
yeah.
each other. Like he's busting their heads open with the shotgun, and she's toasting all the slugs that crawl out of it. Like the fact that like the male and the female lead are working together in concert. It's a rarity to have this in a movie because it's always like one character has to be the badass, one has to be the damsel in distress. Yeah. This was like, we have to help each other out, and they did.
It was much more realistic, and that final scene. Speaking of realistic, that final scene where we see the explosion, where Stephen Atkins or whatever the hell his name is.
Don't desecrate the man.
I'm too drunk to remember his name.
Tom Watkins.
Whatever. Yes, him. Watkins separates himself on fire. And then, like, commits suicide downstairs and blows the place up. I was expecting an ID4 moment where, you see, like, you know, the White House get blown up to pieces. I was totally expecting that. It was fairly realistic. You see it explode from the basement on one side of the house, and then it kind of expands, not expands, it engulfs the rest of the house. I don't want to say slowly, but, you know.
Like, there's an explosion, it blows out the lower level windows, but it's just like flames, and then, then the flames just gradually climb, which is...
And then, you know, in the next scene, they cut to the next scene, and, you know, the rest of the house is kind of on fire, and you're like, wow, that's actually kind of realistic. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, especially because we all know how much the 80s love their explosions. Right? They're over-the-top explosions. Exactly. And they didn't even show it from, like, you know, multiple angles. The same shot from multiple angles, right? It was just...
Nobody jumped away from it. Like, it was great.
It's like nobody got flung like 20 feet into the air and then get up and brush themselves off and they're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I like that quite a bit.
Yeah. So guys, I think that's a pretty conclusive good list.
Overly conclusive.
I think since like we all had like such a collective boner for this movie that I let the good list go on longer than normal. But I do think there's, despite how much we love this movie, there is a couple of bad things that we need to bring up. And as tradition, since Mike always starts off with the good, I'll start off with the bad. I don't know if you guys put this on your list, but a little bit of inconsistency when it came to the zombies. Because throughout the movie, we're seeing, like, you know, as soon as a slug jumps into somebody's mouth, they drop down dead and then they revive zombified.
We never see them drop. They just get dosed and then it cuts to something else.
Yeah, but I mean we did see them, like, when they discover some other people, like the scientist at the beginning. We see him, like, you know,
right, and he's found by everyone, brought to the morgue.
So there's a bit of time that passes, right?
He got an autopsy and nobody found the slug.
Yeah, despite the fact that he's sitting there with an autopsy scar. But then when and Jesus Christ, I've had way too much beer to remember characters' names at this point. But Crippled Jughead, Crippled Jughead / Joey Jeremiah gets slugged. He has, like, the cognitive ability to, despite the fact, know that, like, I've been infected with a fucking brain slug. I'm pretty much dead because I don't even need my crutches to walk anymore. I have no heartbeat, but yet has cognitive skills enough to go and record a message for his friend.
He can do a
telling them
self-diagnostic
how to defeat these slugs, and then go take himself out in the boiler room by burning himself.
So how much of your willpower do you have left?
That was intense.
So why him? Why did he? Because he, like, was it the power of love that gave him the special abilities to hang on a little bit longer? Like.
And now I have that song stuck in my head. Thanks a lot.
Everybody should.
Maybe
everybody should have that song stuck in their head. It's the best song ever.
Maybe it was like he had time to be aware of them because everyone else gets a worm right off the bat. They get hit, like you could say, like the shock kills them because he knows what he's up against. Like he's in like a heightened state of awareness. Maybe the adrenaline is like I'm making shit up here. I'm making excuses. But
Maybe,
the adrenaline
like-
could be what's fighting off the effect, and then when that subsides, then you're completely.
I just
taken
thought that
away.
was a bit of a cop-out to have, like, just because of they needed something to, well, first of all, they wanted to bring in, like, some emotion that now the lead character just lost his best friend, and they wanted to make it emotional that, like, his friend left this recording from him, but they also needed a way of being able to tell, like, delivered a point of how to kill these alien slugs.
Yeah, what's the point of having this information to be
Well, as
if
soon
it
as
doesn't
he
get passed
found
on?
out, remember, I was like, oh, well, I guess he's not going to die now because he clearly
Yeah,
has to
exactly.
tell somebody about
He
it.
needs
And then he immediately died, and I was like, oh, this is going to work now.
Yeah. But, so I thought that was like, oh, well, I know why he did it, but
Great way to subvert expectations.
it really screws up the consistency. Like, everyone else had the exact, like, they were affected the same way, but this guy gets special treatment. Like, no. All right, Mike, dig deep, buddy. What do you have bad to say about this movie?
I guess I'll go with an overall thing. There were confusing edits and some lacking ADR, I think we can say.
I think Rich brought that up a few times while we were watching
Yes,
this.
as well as some of the lines were kind of hard to understand. Like, I want a fat one.
Oh, you mean, what was it? What were some of the things we thought the guy said? I want a fat one was one.
That was the one that I thought. Something about his mother.
Yeah.
Or something wasn't one of the ones that Mike
Yeah.
thought he was talking about his mother.
Oh, and there was like the one with Cynthia where I thought she said I'm into the weird stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in fact, she was saying no more weird stuff, Mike. Clearly, that's why you spent 2 years in jail.
Yeah, that's why he had to go spend like 15 minutes in the bathroom afterwards. Thought she said, I'm into the weird stuff. Mike said, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I didn't think of that timing. Huh.
He's
That
like,
makes so much sense now.
he's just in the bathroom like, yeah, me too, baby. Oh, I'm into the weird stuff. Yeah.
You wear the strap on this time.
Yeah, take a dump on my chest.
Okay, wait.
I call this the rolling brownout.
Weird horror movie related tangent. When me and my wife were dating, like, I don't know, 12 years ago or something like that, when we first started dating before we split and found each other again or whatever, I downloaded a copy of the number 23, which is that Jim Carrey horror movie or whatever.
When Jim Carrey decided
the
he wanted to
thriller
try
movie.
being serious for a while.
Yes, exactly. So I downloaded this
There's
movie.
a number.
And I keep in mind that I don't like horror movies or thriller movies or anything with a jump scare at all.
Oh,
but I
good thing.
love Jim Carrey. I love him. Like, people used to call me Jim Carrey Jr. when I was a kid because I used to quote him every second of every day that I could because of The Mask and Ace Ventura. Like, I was all about that.
And you're both spastic.
Sure, that too. Definitely. But anyway, so I downloaded this movie. Me and my wife get down. We're all set to ready and watch it. We got some popcorn. We're sitting on the couch, having a drink, whatever. We press play, and what pops up? Brazilian shit porn. hairy Brazilian shit porn. First scene of the movie, it's like some guy in like a cabana or something, like, and he's in a Speedo, and he immediately just squats over a woman's chest and starts shitting on her face, and I'm like, is this the number 23 shits on my chest, or the number 23? So to this day, I've not been able to watch that movie.
That's doing a number 23.
And this was back in just after the Napster days when everything was labeled Weird Al if it was a parody,
Was
right?
this
Like,
from
everything
the
was
movie?
mislabeled on the internet.
Was this from the movie, or did he grab the wrong file?
Oh, I don't remember seeing that in the movie.
I think you definitely
wrong file
will.
because this was the opening moments of the movie.
It could have been something Jim Carrey was watching. Did you not skip ahead to see if he was like in the movie eventually?
Okay, I'm gonna say, like, I did see this movie.
You failed.
I did see this movie, but
Wait, which one? The Brazilian shit porn or
possibly, but the number 23, I did
definitely seen that one actually.
I did see that movie. I don't remember a scene like that, but
Dos chicas, one couple.
I will admit that while I was watching the number 23, I was doing something else as well at the same time. So I wasn't paying
Maybe you missed that scene. Yeah.
I wasn't paying close attention to that movie.
So that's my bad is the bad lines to get back to this movie.
The ADR.
Yeah, so many tangents in this episode, Mike. I feel really sorry for your editing.
I
I'm not doing
blame
much.
all the alcohol.
Yeah, well, yeah, blame the alcohol.
Yeah.
Blame it on the alcohol.
Yeah, I also blame that song on the alcohol.
Yes, that's yeah. Actually, I blame that song more on cocaine and drugs.
Sounds more like a heroin. type of feel.
Yeah, there's a little slow and lagging.
Anyway, your next bad, I guess we're gonna.
Okay.
It's bad when the guest has to help host the show. You know we're all getting too drunk.
We know the 80s movies, when it comes to horror movies or action movies, they're all full of one-liners. Some of them not great, some of them are fucking classic.
This movie, I thought they were pretty good. Seriously, good. You're gonna bring a bad one in here?
I am gonna bring a bad one. It's when Tom Atkins shoots a zombie in the head with his trusty stub nose and says, "It's Miller time."
That was so funny. And again, side for me, that was great because my brother, who is a part-time American citizen, or I guess full-time and part-time Canadian, but he used to be an actor, commercial actor. He's done a lot of commercials. You've probably seen him without even knowing it, but he used to do Miller Lite commercials back in the 90s, and he would
God.
He was the guy in the stadium, in the baseball stadium. That was his shtick in the commercial, and he would walk around going, "Miller Lite? Who needs a Miller Lite?" So to me, that was especially very special because I was just, oh, my brother used to do that.
Okay, and I kind of see this because, like, the whole thing when these commercials used to be on, for anybody that wants to go back and, like, you know, go YouTube and search these Miller Lite commercials from the 80s, it was like these guys would finish, like, you know, it was construction guys or whatever like that, and, like, it was quitting time, and they say, "It's Miller time," right? Okay, job is done, let's go have a beer, basically, is what those commercials were saying. Ghostbusters used it. After almost to the final scene of Ghostbusters, when they first think that they defeated, what's-her-face, Gozer, Bill Murray says, "We did it." You know, they're all congratulating her. It's Miller time, because the job is done, right? Let's go have a beer. In this movie, that line makes absolutely no sense. He shoots a zombie in the head. Its head explodes. It's Miller time. Hey, Tom Atkins, there's like 50 more zombies on the lawn trying to smash their
Work
way
ain't
in.
done yet.
So was he like, "It's Miller time. What's up?"
Did he
just keep going through all
Bad, wise,
Maybe
This
he
one's for you.
maybe he nicknamed his gun Miller.
Oh,
It's
named
Miller
after
time.
his favorite newsman of the time, Dennis Miller from SNL.
You had to ruin it.
yeah. Anyway, your next one, I guess.
Okay,
Keep this moving.
I've only got two more
Before
bads.
we're here for 2 fucking hours.
I got two bads. It's a really small list. I think we all got tiny bad lists. My
No,
next-
you're the only one with the tiny anything. Oh!
So, my next bad.
There's been a lot of alcohol, but not enough to confirm that yet.
There's still time.
Yeah, there's still lots of booze left.
So the next bad is when we see Archie and Jughead in their dorm. They're
Jughead.
It's true, man.
Seriously,
No,
you watch this
like
movie.
a great
It's crippled
explanation.
Jughead. It's crippled Jughead.
Neither of them
and Archie.
had enough abs to be Archie or Jughead.
No,
We're talking
Riverdale.
about
We're
like
talking
not
the old
talking
comics.
about like this.
you're not
new
talking about Riverdale?
We're not talking about this new Riverdale stuff. I'm talking about
Okay.
like classic like 80s Archie.
Wait, there was
comics.
an Archie before Riverdale?
Oh my
It's
god!
the only Archie I've ever known. It's the one with all the abs and the sexy nipples and.
I'm done. I'm going I'm walking back to Toronto. I'm done.
Of course, I'm joking. I remember Archie comics when they had what was the creepy Blue Jays fucking coach that would travel through time with all his little summer camp kids. Do you remember that? Like,
I
I'm
remember-
pretty sure you watched something else.
I
No,
remember-
the comics,
I remember-
in the comics. It was
I-
like, you know the comics that were in the middle of the comics?
There was Brownie the Christmas elf.
Oh my god, I'm finding this right now. Keep going.
Yeah,
on
you
your
do
back.
that. So
All right, yeah.
so I can finally get to that bad. So Archie and Jug are in their dorm. They're talking, and behind Archie, we get to see this poor fish in a milky as fuck bowl.
Yeah.
And it's moving around. So it's not something that they ignored until it's dead. It is currently suffering.
Yeah.
This thing is just it can't even see outside its bowl.
It's never had its bowl cleaned.
These
Never.
lazy assholes got an animal and just fucking ignored it. It is just so depressing and sad. Like we're supposed to think these are the nice guys, these are the heroes. They don't give a fuck about a fish.
Nope, they certainly do not.
So what about you? Another bad for you.
Okay, while I did praise, and I praise it quite a bit, I heaped lots of praise on the practical effects of this. The prosthetic and animatronic effects were so well done. There's some green screen effects in this movie that were probably some of the worst I've seen when it came to 80s movies.
Oh, for sure.
Some of the slug movements, and which really confused me because there's some scenes where we see glimpses.
Say the slug movements, I personally, I think I have to agree with Mike, and I think Mike was getting to it earlier. I think it might be claymation that they green screened in. So
absolutely.
They filmed it separately and then they green screened it in.
And sometimes, there were certain scenes where I'm pretty sure
rolling in his grave.
I'm pretty sure
Junior
there was
J's,
some.
man, I'm telling you, Junior J's.
There were some scenes where I'm pretty sure the slugs were just literally like just.
One image, green screen to wobble.
No, but what I'm saying is that I think there were some slugs where they were just there was just like a slug that they made like a rubber slug, completely inanimate, put on a string and just pulled across like the walkway, and he just sped up the footage, and that actually was like okay, not great but not bad. But then there's some green screen editing where it's like claymation against a green screen, and holy shit, it looked absolutely terrible. And again, like you could say, like, oh well, it was 1986 when this movie was made. Certainly didn't have the technology, the green screen technology we have now. Mm-hmm. But there's movies from like that era that use green screens and claymation. That, I mean, while you can tell what it is, it looked a hell of a lot better than this. So I don't think that's an excuse. So this might fall into nitpicking a bit, but I still think it's valid. I think it's a valid point to put on the bad list.
Oh, for sure.
Speaking of the bad list, you got anything else on that?
Bad list. I have a couple of things. I have...
Not enough 80s boobs.
Not enough. That's literally what I was about to say. Definitely not enough 80s boobs. And I've got one more that I'll mention real quick, which is 80s newspaper headline is fucking wrong.
Headless corpse?
Yeah, it said headless corpse,
yeah.
But the guy did totally have a head. It was just split open the middle, like a nice tight little vagina that you could just...
Yeah. Yeah, he had like a vagina face.
That's not where I went with my first thoughts, but yeah, you're not wrong.
He just had like a head vag going on.
A head vag. I like it. So yeah, that was totally that was definitely a thing for me.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, I don't know, head vag doesn't equal headless.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
And my final bad is we're told like the house mother has a cottage nearby, and we've seen movies with cottages before, with colleges before. Apparently,
with cottages.
Apparently,
we've seen movies with cottages.
Yeah.
And colleges.
Cabin in the woods. So there's. I don't know why. I've never seen this in. Have you been to a college? Like, have you been to you go to college right now, right?
I did. I probably will go again.
Okay. Do they do you know if they have like some old person who lives on the campus just because?
You mean like that guy in Star Trek, the really old guy that was always on the campus in Star Trek Next Generation, and he was there for like 100 years, and we only find out at the end of the series that he's a fucking hologram. I'm sorry, I forgot I wasn't podcasting with Chris Lockhart. My bad.
I watched every episode of
What you're talking about?
The actor who plays him is like super famous. You would have known him from a million things,
Oh,
including
he was like
my
the guard-
favorite
he was-
musical
What do you mean,
of all time,
Wesley
Those Damn
Crusher's
Yankees.
time traveling teacher?
Was he a gardener?
Yes,
On the
gardener.
grounds like at Starfleet?
Yes, him.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wait, he was a hologram?
Yes, he was totally a
Oh,
hologram.
fuck. That just ruined everything for me.
You're like, I'm never watching Star Trek again.
Anyway, they have
Trek.
Anyway, we've seen like a movie before with Black Christmas, I believe. There's like this house
mother. It's a den mother.
A den mother, which like I didn't know this was a job. Like some old lady just hangs out with the college girls.
At my college,
And she
I
lives
want
there.
that job.
Yeah, can I be a den mother?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, we can just like Miss Doubtfire.
All I had at my college was a homeless guy that used to sleep in the bus shelter outside, in front of it.
He was the den father.
Yeah.
No, see, in Ottawa, we don't have, there's no homeless people out where the college is. So they all stick downtown. So
He was homeless, but he always had weed. And he always wanted to share it with everybody. So.
Well, that's not too bad. You can't go wrong there.
So this lady, her house is...
10 minutes later, Mike's still trying to explain something.
I'm not the one cutting everybody off. So I'm trying...
Not at this moment. Usually that's your shtick, man.
I'm trying to be good and realizing, I guess someone has to pick up the asshole.
Yeah. It's annoying, isn't it?
So
it's not my fault. You gotta blame the alcohol.
So, Den Mother has her house built over what was apparently... Her house is built over the shallow grave of this serial killer, because the movie starts with a serial killer on the loose. The lady who wants her breast fondled, she gets her head lopped off by this axe guy, who's apparently was discovered in the act by the cop. played by a very young Tom Atkins.
Hey, I just realized that she was literally covered in Axe body spray.
Oh. Snap.
I'm going to drink some more booze.
So Atkins, because this is like his girlfriend's cheating on him. Bad enough he has to deal with that, but instead of like having time to process his grief or whatever, he finds that she's been axed up. So he just murders the fuck out of this serial killer with his 12-gauge shotgun. And you think, oh, well, then he just could have like taken that guy to the station and be like, listen, I had to kill him in the line of duty. I saw him killing someone. He wouldn't stop. I ventilated him. Could have been a hero. No, he decides, I'm just going to put this guy in a shallow grave. That shallow grave ends up being built over with a den mother's house.
That took a long time to pay off.
Yeah.
Like a long time to pay off.
It took an even longer time to happen because then when one of the brain slugs crawls under the crawl space, gets in there somehow through the dirt because it sensed a corpse. If it takes over brains, wouldn't a brain have decayed long ago?
Oh yeah, that's a good point because there shouldn't have been enough left of that corpse to reanimate.
Yeah, it would have been like skeletons with no tendons.
Yeah.
So like, there's no reason for it to be reanimated. But anyway, I guess like preservatives, formaldehyde, I don't know, science. So he crawls.
Science.
He crawls out of this. He crawls out through the floorboards because apparently, like Cemetery Man, people get buried with whatever they're holding on to when they die. So the guy, Tom Atkins, buried him with his axe, which he uses to chop himself out of the floorboards. And the old lady's watching her stories, and
she's watching Plan 9 from Outer Space. Thank you very much.
It's a great movie. I've heard. I haven't seen it.
It is the best worst movie.
The best worst movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so slurring my words right now. Oh my god. Keep going.
Yeah,
I've been drinking along with all of you, and I'm
turning into Sean Connery over there.
I've drank so much more than you. I've drank half of your booze that you brought.
Do I
and
need
like
to...
6 Pepsis, and it's like 4 a.m. now, and I'm never going to sleep.
Tomorrow's going to be fun.
Dead. Holy shit, my phone.
Oh my god,
asleep.
is it dead?
Yeah.
That's so funny. He's got an apple. That's not going to help.
Is that an apple? It didn't look white.
He's got one of those stupid Apple phones.
Hey, you guys suck, okay? I've got the best phone here of all of you guys.
You got the best dead phone.
Okay, the battery only lasts like 2 hours. But besides that, everything else about it is the best.
Those 2 hours are great.
So coming up next on Tech Chatter.
So anyway, old lady sees her floorboards being chopped up by this guy, and it's in the bad. Remember, we're still in that category.
Are we?
Yes. We're transitioning.
We're doing a Patreon podcast now.
So she sends.
You're putting into bad, but everything about this scene was really good.
She is
I'm not sure where this is going.
Yeah.
She is just staring at this thing. No, like, oh god, like not even like pressing, like, you know, old people have like buttons nearby to summon people if they can't move.
Not 1986, they didn't.
I'm pretty sure electricity, like basic doorbells.
Not who had a doorbell on their chair? They're like recliner chair.
A string with a bell.
Oh my god!
He's right, Mike. He's got you.
Okay, a string with a bell. How about that? So,
was this fucking Cinderella?
Might as well be. So she's just staring at this guy, chopping his way out, and then like he crawls up, looks at her. She's still looking at him, no screaming, no nothing. Like she's just trying to like figure out like have my brownies kicked in yet? And
mine have.
Oh,
yeah.
The little old lady.
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were talking about up until right now because you're just going on. I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about.
How many den mothers were in this movie? Exactly.
One?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is my last bad. She just stood there, said nothing, did nothing. Like whenever somebody acts completely unrealistic, that just grinds my gears.
Yeah, you know what else is bad about this film? That it ended. Because it was so much fun. I had a freaking blast. I don't know. What about do we have any other categories that we need to get to? Or?
Yes, it is time to watch silently. No, that's the end. It is time to watch silently as the kill. No, fuck you for sabotaging me, you asshole. It is time to watch silently and stare longingly at the return of the what the fuck. And since Sheldon is occupied for the moment, I'm going to cut in the very beginning because we get to see this. First, we see like this big round head on this tiny little body running around, and at first it reminds me of Sam from Trick or Treat, the little burlap-headed boy. And then when we finally get a good close-up look at this thing, it's kind of like E.T. if he fucked a mad ball and then gave birth to a killer tomato, and then they're like shooting these lasers at each other, like they're playing laser tag, and then somehow they
Killer tomatoes with lasers attached to their head.
freaking tomatoes with lasers attached to their heads.
Laser beams.
And that's how somehow they were just carrying a can of slugs that they sent to Earth, which shocks me right off the bat when it attacks someone because you think it's going to crawl up his arm. No, it just ejects from the canister into the mouth like a deep throat slug bomb.
I like Deep Throat.
That's the name of my homemade porno, actually. Deep Throat Slug Bomb.
Deep Throat Slug Bomb.
So, since we've brought back the what the fucks, something must have made you look at this and go, what the fuck? I know we've said this several times.
Like everything.
Yeah, it sure did. And I think this is going to be a collective what the fuck. Because there's a scene in this movie that's actually a really good scene and turns into an even greater scene, which is the party bus crash. And so, okay, so just to set up the scene, all the frat boys get into a party bus. They are going to go boozing. Zombie dog walks it in front of the bus. It swerves to get away from it. Crashes into an oncoming traffic. And yes, I just said an oncoming traffic. I know what I just said, so shut up, you guys.
It tries to avoid crashing. It crashes into an oncoming car.
So this bus crashes.
It wasn't oncoming. It was like a car off to the
And
side.
traffic off-coming.
Yeah.
I am not drunk.
Would you like some more alcohol?
I am not drunk.
I would
Fuck
love
you.
more alcohol. So it crashes. The zombie dog that caused the crash in the first place walks into this now like overturned bus, smiles, and just infects all these frat boys in there and like turns them into a whole horde of zombies. Great scene, but they added something to it.
It was punctuated. It began with this most startling, unbelievable thing.
Oh my god. Okay, so the bus driver that sees the zombie dog swerves, and he's the one that goes into oncoming traffic. When he sees this truck that's about to hit him,
He sees the dog, and that's what he goes to.
Yeah, he swerves away from the dog. That's what I said.
Didn't he turn off to the right where he was hitting a parked car, though?
No, it was not. He swerves into the opposite lane, which with another vehicle coming, like a truck coming, and we see the whole thing play out. Like the lights, we see this other truck head towards him, and like the lights shine into the driver's face. Now, all they had to do with the scene is have the driver react, like shine a light in his face and have him react in terror. They decided to go through the trouble of making a prosthetic head with inflatable eyes of the bus driver.
It's like a cutaway from Beetlejuice.
Oh my god, yeah. And while the prosthetic head is actually really well done, like it looks like the bus driver and inflatable eyes, like it's pretty cool, but why? Why is this necessary? Why?
You could have just had a guy like, but no, his eyes fucking like inflate out of his head like some Ghostbusters toy.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember those. Those are so much cool.
Yeah, like you press like a bag of air and the eyes and they bulge out. The eyes bulge out.
Oh my god, no! You'd push their legs together and their eyes would bulge.
Right,
out.
because it was like hard plastic.
They were
things.
called Fright Feature.
Oh my
Fright
gosh,
Feature
that was so
Ghostbusters.
amazing.
But yeah,
I haven't thought about that in so long.
while
I called it the bus driver awooga.
I would have called it a shower scene auga personally, but you know.
But yeah, it just seems so unnecessary. That's why it's what the fuck. What the fuck were they thinking to go to the trouble of making a prosthetic head with inflatable eyes of the bus driver to try to punctuate how scared he was in this moment when all they had to do was have the actor sit in the bus, shine a light on him, and just have him react. That's it. That's all they needed. Yeah, definitely a what the fuck. A what the fuck to the extreme that we had to replay the scene, like 7 times?
Oh, at least.
And take a screenshot of it.
Oh yeah.
And Google it.
When we weren't trying to figure out the ADR, the bad ADR moments.
Yeah.
That was like an audio what the fuck.
So yeah, definitely we had to put a what the fuck category in this because that was definitely worthy of it. All right, so anyone else got anything to add to what the fuck?
I do.
Of course you do.
When Tom Atkins is having his first flashback, he sees the axe murderer, but instead of the axe murderer, we turn around and who is it? And it's the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
Wait, and he has no reason to. And he has no reason to see this.
It's a premonition because it is exactly like the way he looks when he gets reanimated and crawls to the floor. But how?
Did you say the Grim Reaper?
No, the Crypt Keeper.
Oh yes, no, it totally looks exactly like the Grim Reaper. Yes,
Yeah.
that.
The Cryptago.
The Grim Reaper.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Babadook.
The Crimp Reaper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting him to turn around and be like, "Hello, boys and girls."
That was weird. That was not how he sounded at all.
I don't know.
This sounded more like the Leprechaun.
I was gonna say that was like the Smurf version of.
Did he ever do an episode on helium?
No, but we should do that sometime.
Welcome to the Tales of the Crypt Keeper.
We have the tale of a mortgage bank.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, like why would you get why would he see him as the rotted corpse? Like when that looks exactly like the way he looked when he reanimated. So yeah, it's a good point. All right.
Rich.
I've only got one quick one. Ken doll.
Yeah, they find the reanimated corpse,
Yeah,
and
he's a total fucking Ken doll. He is a
If
what do they call it? A Unicron?
what?
Eunuch?
Unicorn?
Eunuch?
A eunuch.
Well, if
Unicorn.
he's wearing underwear, he's wearing flesh-colored underwear.
No,
Why?
but there was another scene after that though, where he's laying on the floor and it does not look like underwear. It is straight up like
It
fucking
looks like there was.
no-cock.
It looks like there was a foot.
Remember
Yeah,
when
Mike said it looked like there was a foot in his balls.
yeah,
Like it was like
reminded
poltergeist like
it's like
coming out of a wall.
Marilyn Manson during
Yeah.
The beautiful people.
yeah, where he's like naked but not really because he
Well,
had
'cause he's
fake
got that
breasts, but he
boob-
also
boobs.
had like
Yeah, that weird no gender suit.
Exactly. That's
He
exactly.
looked like all the Ken dolls that I had all the Ken dolls my sister had when I was a kid.
Yeah. That sounds
Definitely sister.
And the final what the fuck is the ending, because the slugs
Oh my
escape.
God.
The slugs escape somehow. Like Tom
Oh,
Atkins.
that ending. I thought you
he's-
meant the next ending.
No, he's been awesome throughout this whole movie. But like he had the smart idea of duct taping his mouth and then forgoes it so that he survives the explosion. He is toasted. Somehow you can still see his mustache even though he's been even though he's been toasted.
that mustache is immortal. Dude. He
It's
still
like
has that.
Tom Selleck.
It
He still has
survives
that
him.
mustache even after like now all of his hair is falling out, but he still has that mustache.
So he ends up since we know that they can take over dead bodies, like pre-existing dead bodies, they don't have to kill you and control you when you're dead. They pilot his body to a cemetery before he collapses. His head blooms, and the slugs go into the cemetery, and you think, "Oh, this is where the movie's going to end." And then, hey, remember Aliens? Because all of a sudden the mothership has come to Earth and is now shining, doing spotlight searches over the sky. Somehow escaped all of Earth's detections. All of all of Ronald Reagan's Star Wars defense systems have fucking failed because
It was a huge ship too. It was like Death
it
Star.
was not.
huge,
Yeah,
looked
it
like.
was not a fighter. It was not like a fighter or like a scout
This
ship.
was like the grandmother ship, not even the mothership. It was like the grandmother ship.
This was like Spaceball 1.
It was a motherfucker ship. Yeah, and apparently it took them 30 years to travel that distance that they were close
That
enough to Earth to toss a fucking canister
in
at the
free
airlock.
fall.
So yeah, they were using reverse warp drives. I don't know.
So that ends the What the Fox. But we got lookalike theater because we got not Val Kilmer.
Yep.
We have Archie with the Magic Eye shirt.
Or not Michael Gillis McCuddy.
That's
That's
Archie.
you.
Michael Hall.
That's a character you made up.
That's Archie.
Michael Hall Young.
Michael Chiklis.
No.
I
not
thought
the
I could
thing.
fool him.
Michael Hall.
Yeah.
Not Anthony. 'Cause
Ian-
to me, he looked like the kid from the 80s
Ian Michael
Club
Black.
movie, Breakfast.
No, he looks like he ate the kid from the movie.
So
He was
so
a
then-
lot bigger. Come on.
So we got Jughead without the beanie, and then in the frat house we have not Dennis Franz, we have not Huey Lewis, and they're led by not David Bowie.
Yep.
And then the scientist who gets killed by the corpse is not the dorky guy from Murphy Brown.
and also not
Not Robin
Crypt
Williams.
Keeper.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
Crypt Keeper, yes.
Yep. That's good. Okay, so we've only got one thing left to talk about this movie, and Mike, this is a section that I know is particularly dear to your heart. What do you have for us this week?
Well, I'm on the spot for the kill of the week. And,
You got a few to choose from this time.
I do. Sheesh. I guess I gotta go with Brad. Like, the Bradster. He
Yes.
shows up to the dorm, and you think, like, oh, like, he's going to, like, automatically attack people? No.
Oh.
Well, because she doesn't look at him. She can't bear to look him in the face because she's dumping him. So he knocks
But
on
she
the
was
door.
holding his hand. She was getting back together with him.
Why he didn't attack the
She
girl?
wanted some fucking, like, makeup sex. That's what she wanted.
So he knocks on the sorority. Girl looks at him. Doesn't notice. Like, by the way, this guy looks like
no,
30.
she said, oh, haha, very funny, as if she thought it was a prank that he was dressed like that or something.
So
Yeah,
she
that's
turns
true.
around. Brad's here, but he doesn't attack anybody. And then, like, he waits. Somehow he's like, I'm just gonna go wait.
Just an incubator.
And then she grabs his hand because she's not looking at his face. She sits on the stairs and she's like, "Listen, we've grown apart, or like or something like."
Insert excuse here.
Look, I'm alive. You're not. We're just different people now.
Yeah.
So
Your penis is falling off. I can't have sex with it.
I mean, like, I could without you, and basically that would be an improvement because you're an asshole.
Yeah, really.
And
Like Trump.
he goes to make his move, like, to kill her, and then that's when Archie Ian Michael Black Hall
Oh my god.
decides to come along.
This guy
worse and worse.
has like 50 names right now.
The guy with the magic eye sweater, which is fucking hilarious. He comes along and just like, "Hey, excuse me, by the way," bang, blows off her boyfriend's head. But like, that's when,
Get away from her!
yeah. And luckily, like, she sees his head bloom and slugs come out, instead of just thinking, "You just murdered my fucking ex in front of me, go to hell." And it's like
Just saved her some time.
it's a fitting end to a complete shitlord that's just been a pain in everyone's side, like a real preppy douchey asshole. He had it coming. He deserved it.
You know, his hair, it finally just dawned on me. The whole time I'm staring at this kid's stupid fucking hair. You know what his stupid fucking hair looks like? Sweater fucker from Scooby-Doo.
Fred?
Yes. He was a fucking Fred.
Sweater fucker.
Well, at least it's better than the pie fucker. Did he not look like
Golly
Sweater
gee,
fucker?
gang, they got a sale on cardigans. You go deal with the maniac slasher. I'm gonna go hit that sale.
That's the best sweater fucker.
You know what though? Still better than a couple of years ago. I recorded another live episode after the Star Wars episode that they came out, the first one there, and I called Ray Titty McGee when I was super drunk. It was fucking hilarious. Wasn't that with you?
Yeah.
It was with you and Chris Gaida.
Yeah, I don't
And
know.
I was like, Titty
my
McGee, and you
God.
guys just fucking broke out laughing. It
I
was
don't know why you
hilarious.
call her Tits McGee. I mean, that girl was all ass.
No, but it's because she was wrapped up in that rag.
Yeah, the titty
and
wrap.
it just looked like it was just accentuating her boobs. It was great. I just wanted it to come unraveled. Anyway, so Caller McFuckerton was totally from Scooby McDoo. It was great.
Jesus Christ, this is the best podcast ever.
Handkerchief buttfuck. That's the guy.
So if you donate at graveyardshift.com/Patreon, you can pay for more plane
Food.
tickets.
You can pay for more
Sheldon
booze.
to come down to
Oh
Ottawa
my
and record
God.
more podcasts.
You can pay for our booze and get these extended liquor editions.
Extended liquor edition.
Okay.
All liquor ones.
I'm assuming Mike has finished his kill of the week. I have no idea at this
I
point.
am.
I don't know what's going on anymore, guys. This is... Oh, fuck. Well, guys, that is Night of the Creeps. Check this out.
Hell of a night for us.
This is Night of the Drinks.
Yeah. Night of the Creeps sounds like every night at my local bar. But guys, if you haven't seen this, check it out. Like, this is a movie that certainly comes from the best, what I consider the best era in horror. The 80s, like, nothing topped the 80s horror for me. And this is one that is very unappreciated. More people need to check this one out. And yeah, if you haven't, check it out. If you have checked this one out, what do you think of this? Do you agree with what we had to say? You think we're giving this one too much credit?
Is this movie as good as we think, or was it the booze?
Yeah, because there's been a lot of...
Remember, release the Kraken.
There's been a lot of booze tonight. So were we way off? Is this just drunken ramblings? Was this movie actually pretty bad? Or do you not even care about this movie, but you have a movie that you want us to watch for a future episode? Well, you have a number of ways to contact us. First of all, you can get us the old-fashioned way. You can email us at gyshorrorpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at _gyshorrorpod. You can follow us on Facebook at graveyardshiftpod at facebook.com. And, of course, on Instagram at graveyardshiftpod, instagram.com. And since Rich has already mentioned Patreon, because who wouldn't want to pay for our booze and have another episode like this where
Fuck the booze. No, we got to pay for your plane or bus or train ticket to get down to Ottawa. I'll pay for the booze. I don't care.
I've pretty much reached I'm gone way past the legal limit of alcohol. I'm getting very close to the alcohol poisoning point right now.
Luckily, I have a lot of fat to soak up the alcohol, so I'm fine.
So I can't wait to be at Comicon tomorrow.
We may have to skip going in the morning and just wait until the afternoon.
I got a feeling it's going to be an after lunch thing at least.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, if you're feeling particularly generous, then you can head on over to what is that thing called? Patreon.com/graveyard. Jesus Christ.
Patreon McFuckaton.
Yeah, and if you're feeling particularly generous for just $1 a month, you can help us out with the production cost of this show. And as a reward, you get instant access to some Patreon exclusive bonus episodes. We do this episode a little differently than we do the regular feed. First of all, we do them sober, and we don't just watch a movie. Sometimes we watch a movie, but if we do it in a different form. We don't just do the good and the bad. We do a complete synopsis breakdown. Sometimes we watch horror-based TV shows. We play horror-based video games. Sometimes we do top 10 lists. So check those out. They're all good. Of course, we understand if you don't have the money to give us money, you can still help us out a ton. However you get access to this podcast, there's probably some rate, review, subscribe feature. You guys are pricks. Stop it.
He's cracking his neck. What did he even do?
I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
5 minutes late on us fucking with you there.
He's looking at me weird.
We were trying to fuck with you forever, and you just didn't.
I know, but I've had a lot of alcohol, and it takes a while for my brain to catch up on what's going on, okay?
He's just noticing my typewriter gag.
So rate, review, rescribe?
Yes. If you've already subscribed, subscribe again. It's called rescribe.
That's where you grab your friend's phone and subscribe behind
Subscribe other people. Yeah, steal their phones and subscribe other people.
Oh, definitely.
But whichever way you get access to the podcast, there's some way to subscribe. So if you could do that, that would help us out greatly. Actually, in the long run, that probably helps us out the most.
Word of mouth.
Share us by word of mouth, social media. If you know somebody you think would like listening to this podcast, then please let them know about us. Everybody. So, Mike, other than the Graveyard Shift, what other non-important stuff do you have going on?
I've got the Playing with Power podcast, where we're currently reviewing the year of 1997 in Nintendo Power Magazine.
I remember 1997.
Perfect Dark year? Is that the year that they came out with Perfect Dark?
Maybe. We're only through, March.
That might be. Or Turok. Is that Turok?
We're in the Turok episode.
Here we go. The Turok years.
Our first 4-part episode, because this
Turok
magazine
years. I don't know if you know this. That's the new CW show that they're bringing back. The Turok years.
So then we've also got the Taste Test Retro Gaming with Flavor. It's a game where me and Ivan, and sometimes Brandon, if he's not completely blazed out, to play old video games.
Must be Canadian, clearly.
And then there's the stuff I do with Rich, which he can talk about.
No, if you want to talk about the stuff with Rich, you got to go on to their website, which is BrazilianShitPorn.com.
Don't go to that website. You probably get a virus. You can check me and Mike out at Pop Chatter. That's POPCHATR.
It's Pop Chowder.
Check them out at Pop Chatter.
That's Pop Chowder. Say it right, Frenchie.
Chowder.
So you can check us out at Pop Chatter, CHATR. You can also check us out at Tech Chatter when we get a chance to record a Tech Chatter episode. It's been a long time since we've recorded one, but we'll eventually get back to it because that's Mike's favorite tech chatter. And we've got another show coming up eventually, which I know Mike has talked about a couple times, and I'll just leave it as a mystery for now. You will get it when you get it. Calm the fuck down. Jesus, stop bothering me.
Yeah. It's like, how many
married
podcasts is
you.
that? Like 14, Mike, that you're doing right now?
Yeah. Yeah. And apparently we've got like a buffer of like 16 episodes, but that's not enough for some people.
Hey, buffers are great, man. I like buffers. I like fluffers.
After tonight, he's going to have to take 16 weeks off, dude. So you need a
That's true.
buffer.
It is true. So, yeah, that was super fun, guys. Thank you for having me on. It was amazing.
Oh,
So much
absolutely.
fun. Can't wait for another one.
Well, thank you for this. I should say that Rich actually hosted this. We're doing this in at his place, so this is fantastic. Like, this was so good. Like, I can't believe I actually finally got a chance to come here and meet Mike in person. He's not nearly as smelly or sticky as I thought he was going to be, so that's a good thing. I mean, he
Don't look
is
at his
smelly
palm.
and sticky, just not at the level that I expected.
Yes.
So. Yeah, all good stuff. This was so much fun. I'm so drunk, I'm probably not going to remember a thing about this tomorrow.
That's why it's recorded.
Hopefully, we remember to go to Comicon because that'll be great.
Hopefully
Mike.
edit this episode.
Yeah,
this episode.
edit that out for sure. Edit. That's all, folks.
Edison, Tesla, blah, 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 blah.
No, that's tech chatter.
Yeah. So, guys, that is another episode of The Graveyard Shift. We are going to be back again next week with a brand new episode. Back to the old way, unfortunately, because I'm going to be back in my digs and, 300 miles away. But that's okay. We'll still keep delivering the horror. So, until next time, I'm Sheldon.
I'm Mike.
I'm Richard.
And thank you again for joining us for this episode of The Graveyard Shift. It's Miller time.
It's cracking time.